Hey up everybody, Magpie Gaming here. If you are new to the channel, please do consider subscribing and pressing the bell icon down in the corner to be informed of my latest videos. Good morning, good afternoon and good evening wherever you are on the planet. I hope you're all doing well. So a little while ago I did a video detailing how I make my money in Escape from Tarkov, and it's not to everybody's liking, I know that for sure. Running Hatchet just to grab items out of maps is a little bit frowned upon by some players. Other people don't mind it. I personally don't have an issue with other people being hatchets in maps, but I did explain in that video that because of the way my setup is, with it being in the living room, I've got my partner, I've got my children around me, so I can't always sit with a headset on gaming. So sometimes when I've got a little bit of spare time to kill, you know, we're cooking tea, waiting for that to get done, I can do a couple of quick hatchet runs on a map, make a few dollars and get out, and you know, that's good enough for me. So I did that video detailing how I make the money, and it got me thinking, just how much money do I make doing these hatchet runs? I always seem to have a couple of million rubles floating in my account regardless of how bad my raids go or how good they go. It never seems to fluctuate too much, and I thought, you know, there must be a steady stream of coming in from these hatchet runs, but I never really calculate it. But I decided to do exactly that. So I used the customs map as a test bench because that's where I've been doing the majority of my hatchet runs up until recently. And I say recently because I've just switched over to doing them on the lab map, but I'll get into that in a little bit. But I chose customs because I know every spawn on customs, and I know from wherever I spawn where the nearest weapons cases are, where the nearest crates are, you know, where the nearest jackets are. I know where all the spawn points are for keys, etc. So I just hit the nearest points, hope for the best. If I don't make it out, oh well, never mind. I've gammered as much as I can and probably made a little bit of money out of it. If I do make it out, then that's a bonus. I get a little bit more XP than I would have done if I died. So I decided to pick 1 hour on customs and see how many hatchet runs I could do, what kind of things I managed to get out, and how much I actually made from it. So in the end, it ended up being 1 hour and 50 seconds, because obviously the last run, it was just short of an hour, so I decided to do one more run, and that ran over the hour by 50 seconds. And in that 1 hour and 50 seconds, I made 801,537 rubles. So I was quite surprised by that. I didn't expect it to be that high, but I did get some marquee items out of customs. There was a Rolex in there, there was a couple of gold chains, I managed to get some weapons out, but the vast majority of what it was made up with was just the random items that you find in crates, you know, blue tape, CPU fans, a lot of things that I could sell for a little bit more money on the flea market than I could selling them to vendors. So I managed to get $96 out as well in all of those raids. I got 77 euros out, and not that it was the main aim, it was just a byproduct, but I managed to get 3,825 XP out of that 1 hour and 50 seconds of hatchet runs. So, but the money was the main aim, the XP wasn't what I was aiming for. And as I say, that's how I game. I do that throughout the week, because obviously I can't really sit with a headset on because of my situation. And then when it gets to the weekend where I can actually game properly, I've got plenty of money put aside to buy all the weapons and the items that I need for going into raid. So I was pleasantly surprised by the results of that. As I say, I got some marquee items out of that. There was a couple of MP7s in there as well, a couple of 74Us, which you tend to find quite a lot in weapons boxes and stuff like that. But that is just how I've been doing it, and it works really well for me. It's not too hard, especially with a map like customs, to learn where everything is. It's been turned a little bit on its head just recently because of the expansion to customs. I did find that before the expansion I was able to run customs and not die so much. I was able to extract a lot more, but I think with the expansion it's brought a lot of players back to that map. Seems to be a lot more players roaming around. So, and the expansion, whilst it adds a new dimension to the game, there isn't really much in there, to be honest. I've found there is, at the top of the hill underneath one of the pylons, there is a medical case and 2 small weapons crates, and that is all I've really found on there up to now. If anybody else has run the expanded zone and found anything more, please do let me know, but that is all I've found so far. There's not a great deal to it. but it does give you another way to traverse around the map, maybe a little bit safer. But yeah, that's how I make my money in this game. Now, as I said, I've switched up to doing it on the lab at the moment because that map has some serious loot on it. And I mean, not even just the places where you need keys, there are quite a few locked off places, but even just in the offices that you can get into, there are a lot of computers to check. There's a lot of desks with stuff strewn about that you can pick up. There are lots of safes in there, filing cabinets galore. There's a couple of medical bays that are in there where you can get a lot of medical supplies out. And what I'm going to do as a comparison is I'm going to do my experiment again using the lab map. So I will do an hour's worth of Hatchet runs on there and we'll have a compare, see how much we can get out of that compared to what we got out of the customs map. But as I say, I'm really surprised with the results. I didn't expect that. I was looking at maybe 400 to 500,000 rubles, 800,000. I know that I did have one particular run that netted me nearly 200,000. There was a couple of quite rare items in there. I managed to bag a couple of weapons and extract on that one. So, but I don't go in with anything other than the gamma. That is all I go in with. So if I was to start going in with a bag and extracting a bit more, I could probably double what I walk out of there each time with. But you run the risk of dying and losing what was in the bag. So I tend just to go with the gamma, and then everything I know that I've got in there is safe. I have the vast majority of keys for the customs map. The only one that I don't really have is the cut through one. So, and I've, you know, you can just jump over. Yes, you're losing out on a filing cabinet and a weapon, a crate in there, an ammunition crate, but I'm not too bothered about that. But yeah, that's how I make my money. Like it or lump it. You know, a lot of people don't like hatchets, but I have no issues with them whatsoever. If you are down on your luck, it is a good way to make a little bit of dollar and, you know, perk your game up again. So as always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching and listening. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.